She's a Hollywood dream, straight from an
Hey guys, Lucas here. Welcome back to Monday Madness with Lucas. So this week's topic, we're going to be talking about gender. So we're going to be talking about gender identity, the gender spectrum, feminine and masculinity. So first, let me tell you a bit about my background, my childhood background. So I grew up in a Hispanic household. So my mom and stepdad were both Mexican. So half Mexican, half Spanish. So um, there's a lot of stereotypes that came in with gender. Um, the women had to stay at the kitchen, be household wives, and kind of stay at home moms basically. While men went to work and provided for the household, and that's how I grew up thinking. That's how men were supposed to be, how women were supposed to be. Um, the first time I guess I really talked about the gender identities, found out about the whole gender identities, masculinity, femininity, would probably be when I first came out as trans. And I kind of figured out, okay, the research went to an event, LGBT event, where they kind of had a workshop there talking about gender identities, the gender spectrum, and that is kind of how I learned about the gender spectrum. Um, if you guys, let me give you a look at this. I learned about the gender spectrum through one of uh, the gender unicorn, which I'll be putting up later. So here we have the gender unicorn. The gender unicorn is something I learned when I first started my transition. In the first year, we have the gender identity. It basically refers up to what we identify as, whether it be trans man, cis man, trans woman, or genderqueer, or anything in between. Next year, we have gender expression, which we are talking about, whether it be feminine, where in our gender spectrum we fall under, whether it be feminine, masculine, or in between. Doesn't matter where, as long as we feel comfortable with our expression. Um, so we could be anywhere in the spectrum and still have a different gender identity. Next, we have the sex assigned at birth. Well, whether we were assigned at birth, whether it be we were born female, male, or intersex, and so on. And then next we have whatever we're physically attracted to, whether it be women, men, others, genderqueer, and so on. Men physically and emotionally attracted to. This deals mostly with your sexual orientation, but not prone to that. It's not just that, you can also have, emotionally attracted to people you're not physically attracted to. So here we have the gender unicorn, and that is pretty much how I learned how the spectrum worked as well. So it's a nice little tool here. I'll be posting. Basically, it taught me about the gender identities, gender spectrum, and sexual orientation, and so on and so on. Basically, our gender identities is what we represent, whether it be a trans man, trans woman, cis woman, cis man, so on, gender queer, all that good stuff. So that's what our gender identity, which is very different whether where are in the gender spectrum. The gender spectrum could be trans man, it could be very feminine or masculine. There's no such standard. Um, and that is basically what a lot of us fail to realize, is that there is no standard. I could be represent a man and be dressed, feminine, or there's no right or wrong here. Um, so basically, I learned that through the gender spectrum, through all these workshops I've had. You know, it's kind of hard going from one household, where you grew up childhood, and saying, okay, women are supposed to stay home, then they're supposed to go out and work. Growing up as a woman, as a girl there, I was expected to stay at home. So kind of broke barriers there, saying, okay, first of all, I feel like a guy, and this is how I feel. Um, so I had to learn, to break those norms. I don't expect, With my girlfriend, I don't expect her to stay home. She could go out of work. I really don't expect anything. Um, I know trans guys are feminine. Doesn't mean a thing. We have a wide range of the spectrum. You could be a trans guy, you could be a cis guy. You could, I've had friends who are neutral, right in the middle, masculine and feminine. So I have friends that are, trans that, one day feel feminine, one day feel masculine. There's no set standard. And that's the great thing about the gender spectrum, is that masculinity and femininity doesn't define you. Masculine and femininity is just, a way to represent yourself. I represent myself as trans man masculine. That's just me. I've had friends, trans men friends who represents feminine. Totally fine. I've had cis men who represent as feminine. Perfectly fine. There's no set standards, and that is what the barriers we are. The barriers, we've been taking, those changes we've been making about these past few years, especially trans community coming afloat. We're not just, we're not just trans men, trans women. We're a wide range of spectrum, and that is, amazing. I feel like a lot of times, even within the trans community, there has to be set standard. That is not true at all. There's no set standard. I know, as well as sexual orientation. I've had a lot of trans guys who are gay, and that's perfectly fine. Who cares? It's just who you are, who you represent. That's it. Whether you feel masculine one day, feminine one day, that's perfectly fine. Um, you know, there is, it's like I said before, it's a big spectrum. And for me, being feminine or masculine doesn't, it just makes us who we are. It doesn't make me any different if I were feminine or masculine. It would still be me. Um, I'm sorry, I kind of ranted on. But I will be posting the gender unicorn the way I learned it. It's kind of like, I guess my friend kind of drew it out like when I first learned it. It's like my gender identity and my gender spectrum are two different things. I can identify as male. I can, represent femininity, represent masculinity. No big deal. Two different things, two different bubbles, and they both combine to make who I am, who I represent. And that's great, because that's what we need, more representation in the community, whether it be this way or that way. Doesn't matter where in the spectrum I am. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, or give us a follow at Instagram. I'll be posting a link down there. So have a good day and enjoy the rest of your week.